abasajja abali wano mwagala abaana bammwe tosobola kutuuka mwana wo lwebazaala lwakuba nti wayawukana n'abaana bammwe kuba abaana kirabo okuva wa Katonda. It's a gift. Children are a gift from God, and that's what the Bible says. They are a special gift. Actually, they are a special gift. Tosobola kufuna ekirabo ekiringa ky'omutima. Even if they give you money, it cannot be equivalent to that gift of a child. The people who have money but they don't have children, and they are giving. Because when you don't have a child, then your generation is going to end there. But children take us to another generation. Even if you die, they will remember that, oh, so and so left a child to protect their children because they have rights. They are human beings. You don't have to say that it is only dangerous it's unlawful to kill an adult. No. Killing a child, even aborting a child is treated as crime in our country. Aborting an unborn child. What about a child who is 8 years? Omwana gosobola okutushon sentencing guidelines for course of education, practice directions 2013, when it comes to the factors that aggravate or mitigate a sentence. Section 4(1) and 2 of the Law Revision Penalties in Criminal Matters Miscellaneous Amendment Act 2019, which act defines life imprisonment, among others, provides that for purposes of enactment, prescribing life imprisonment or imprisonment for life. Life imprisonment or imprisonment for life means imprisonment for the natural life of a person without the possibility of being released. And subsection 2 says, notwithstanding subsection 1, a person liable to imprisonment for life or life imprisonment may be sentenced for any short term of imprisonment not exceeding 50 years. Imprisonment for life is the second gravest punishment next to the sentence of death. Where the law prescribes life imprisonment as punishment, it shows the offense is serious. Girl child and injuring Habadia Minora and clitoris was a classic case of gender-based violence. Violence against children has lifelong impact on health and well-being of children. It affects families, it affects communities and nations, because they are the future leaders of tomorrow. Continuous battering of a child of tender age, like TSM, can impair brain and nervous system development. That is why, unlike other forms of torture, which are punishable by 15 years, torture against children below 18 is punishable by life imprisonment. It can affect all other systems, including circulatory, reproductive, and respiratory system. The perpetrators of violence against children are wicked, and the intention is to inflict pain and suffering, which can negatively affect or pass a sentence, aimed, among others, at denouncing unlawful conduct, deterring the offender from committing crime, and deterring other will-be offenders. In this particular case, court needs to pass a sentence that will denounce the unlawful conduct of violence against children, and this includes all forms of violence. Experiencing violence in childhood impacts lifelong health and well-being. That she was a young mother. that it is actually the young stepmothers who terrorize their children. Regulation 15 of the sentencing guidelines provides for taking into account the remand period. The convict has been on remand since 2017. In her mitigation, she submitted that she was 27 years. Court went back to the record. She was stated to be 26 years at the time she committed the offense. She therefore lied about her age to solicit unmerited sympathy from court, as the age of convict at the time of commission of offense is very important. At the age of 25, the brain is fully evolved. She knew what she was doing and intended to do it. That is why she found it hard to plead guilty, which is a key mitigating factor while considering sentence. Much as an accused has a right to a full trial, a plea of guilty is a clear way of executing to torture children. Cannot allow to continue stepmothers or stepfathers to torture innocent children who find themselves in that situation. No child would desire to stay with a stepmother. No child would desire to be raised by a stepfather. But where you have come in the state of a mother, then play that role of a mother. There is no single child who deserves to be tortured, because these children are developing. The moment you torture them, you are affecting their holistic development. So I think it is time for courts of law to stand out and pass punishments that condemn torture of children by state acts. It is not acceptable, it cannot be tolerated, it can never be justified at any time, it can never be justified under any circumstances. Why would you torture a small kid for 4 years? N'ayagala nti omujja wa maama we amukuumi. Buli omwana bw'azaalibwa asuubira nti maama we yagenda kumuyuza yeetaaka we. Naye singa embeera ebeerawo nti mujja wa maama we yalina okukuza omwana. Omwana oyo talina musango gulyaza. The child should be loved in other child. The child should be left alone in other child. But there's a lot of this in homes. Obanga omanyi olina omuliraanawo ng'atulugunya omwana, kitegeera okuva leero nti waliyo etteeka eriziyiza ki okutulugunya abaana. Any child is tortured below 18, the punishment is life imprisonment. And life imprisonment now means the natural life. Naye koti bwe kusaasira negamba ntoka katusube ku myaka 5. But natural life kati mugobeera n'omulirwana ng'atulugunya omwana not even mujja, not even a stepchild, naye bw'aba ng'atulugunya abaana. Ono Liza teyatulugunya stepchild, ye yatulugunya omwana we n'amutulugunya n'amaliriza ng'amutuusa. So bw'olaba omuzadde ng'atulugunya omwana, temusirika, muyambe abaana, mubaloge ku poliisi. Kooti we ziri, we shall give them their desires, shall give them what they deserve. We need to protect the children from torture. We need to protect the children from premature death. Come our own numbers. Head of labor commands. Enda kubuka ondetereyo musukali. Into your own child is a friend, you can chat with that child. How cruel can one be to keep to strangle the neck of a child? You are very wrong. And this is happening everywhere. We are hearing these things every day. We are hearing these cases every day. Neighbors are terrorizing our children. Why would we, the parents, why would we terrorize your child? Imprisonment, which is prescribed under Section 5H of the Prevention and Prohibition of Torture Act. The basis for this prayer is that torture against children by status is passed. It is important for the convict to understand the purpose of sentencing, which is to promote respect for the law enacted against them by state parents be it mothers or fathers. Maltreatment, including violent punishment, involves physical neglect of infants, children and adolescents by parents, caregivers, and other persons of authority, homes, but also in settings such as schools and orphanages. Emotional or psychological violence, and when it is directed against girls or boys because of their biological sex or gender identity. Any of these types needed to be loved to help her mental well-being, be physically healthier, increase in her brain involvement and memory, create a strong bond with a convict who was now a mother in her life, and make less not alone. Violence against children is very rampant. The convict cannot suffer the punishment of all stepmothers or parents who unleash their ferocious, savage conduct on innocent souls, their stepchildren, but it must have a deterrent effect. The motive of that savage attack against a toddler of 4 years was gruesome. She needs to be protected so that she can defend herself. The sentence should speak to the stepmothers that torturing stepchildren is not acceptable in our society. It is not tolerable, and that it is abhorrent as well as punitive. She is free to appeal against the sentence if she is not satisfied. This court has obligation towards children. We cannot continue.
Session case number 80 of 2018. Uganda versus David.
Sentencing guidelines propose the starting point of murder cases at 35 years of imprisonment. The convict went in to kill his own child by strangulation, acting in connivance with the stepmother of the child. Torturing a helpless child of 8 years unto death by parents who owe a duty of care. Some cruel murder does not only call for a punitive but deterrent sentence that is aimed at protecting children in
okusanga eri abantu abalala baleme okubeerako n'ebikolwa nga bino ku baana mu maka.
A protracted trial, he is not remorseful at all and wants to spare his own life from a long sentence by telling lies to court about his house.
Nti yayisa kooti ze nnyo ate za sitaani ziringa yasigaza empisa zennyini ze yalina kwolwo olunaku lwe yatera odomu kyali.
How much more can we do to us out of circulation for some time as a protective measure for the innocent children?
Mu kulaba okuweekibwa omulamuzi buyinza
On blood and flesh, by breaking the neck of an 8-year-old son is a monster.
Omusajja asobola okutuga
Out of circulation for the rest of his life by imprisonment.
omuntu ono yeetaaga okubeera n'okomera obulamu bwe bwonna.
The blood of Odom Charles is crying from
Yalina mu Bayibuli, yali mu Bayibuli we yatuusa ekikolwa ky'okutta muganda we munyini.
with a Cain spirit, wandering spirit, are better off behind bars to protect the family members from the dangerous murderer's spirit.
Abantu abalina emitima egya Cain mu Bayibuli, emitima egy'okutaayaaya
Against sinners,
mukyo muyinza ekibonezo ekyandimuweereddwa kyandibadde kyakuwaniza okulaba.
because he was a person of responsibility over Odom Charles.
Obeera yali muntu alina obuvunaanyizibwa naye lwakuba nti yakola omusango omundi ogusooka
He's sentenced to 45 years in imprisonment with special
weekitiibwa okusibye emyaka 45 babaliddeko n'akabanga komaze maanyi.
is free to appeal against both the conviction and sentence of prison since 5
Oba tosiimye okusalawo n'ekibonezo